Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Denise Povernick, and I am the CEO of Secret Weapon, and I am an energetic experience alchemist. I get you out of your crazy mind and into the truth of your personal experience. And I have with me today the lovely Irena Skoda of Irena Skoda Designs and Architecture. So I'm going to allow her to share her magic and what it is exactly she does. Take it away, Irena.
Okay, so hello everyone, good to be here. My name is Irena Skoda and I am a design architect actually in the East Coast on New York side. I specialize in design architecture that is actually eco-friendly, so sustainable, high-performing, meaning that we go into all the energy efficiencies and sustainability measures. But we also do a lot more than that. So since I'm connected so much into energy and alignment, I feel that there is a nature aspect to everything, including architecture, including how we live in our physical spaces, and that's what we design too. So it's really balancing, okay, nature within our own architectural designs with the people that live there or experience the building. So it's not just single family we do, but we can also do multifamily community developments or things like that. So in my range, I've worked from single family all the way up to 90-story towers. So anywhere in between is fine, I guess.
That's absolutely mind-blowing to me. And I'm so thankful that you carved some time today out of your busy schedule to be here and share your experience of what you have experienced. You are a graduate of the January 2020 Invincible CEO Elite Program Pod, and you also just went through the 2-day energetic personal CEO event. So can you share what it's been like for you to be in the program and working with me and your personal experience of that?
Yeah, so I always believe that people are brought together for a reason, and I think you and me stumbled upon each other quite accidentally, but in fact I realize now it's quite purposefully. Yeah. There's no accidents in this world. And so when I put the two together back in January when we started working together, I didn't know what the hell I was embarking on. I really didn't. All I knew was that I needed to connect to my inner self and the creativity within, as well as the intuitive side of my being. And I didn't know how to do it with other coaches. So as I've been developing my business since 2007, so close to 13 years, over 13 years, I have always self-developed. And so when I came across your coaching, the free stuff, I thought it was amazing because each time we had that Monday session, it helped me realize something, it helped me become more aware, it helped me just, oh, I never thought of it that way, and I never connected the two. And I was, mind you, as much as I'm very into connecting to myself in terms of when I do physical work and design, I wasn't connected to a higher level that I knew I was going to be at or am at. And so I was always in that struggle mode and the stuck mode and, oh, you know, why isn't this working out for me? And you know, why I was getting the amazing clients, but there was always a hiccup. You know, either the clients were too new at development or whatever it was just giving me hiccups along the way. And I said to myself, what a blessing this last year was to actually go on a sort of a hiatus for my business and really, really work on myself. And that's what this last 6 months was all about. And including other levels of design interests that I just came across because I was so connected and aligned that just fell into my lap. I said, this is exactly what I wanted to learn and hear about. And then all of a sudden, it just shows up. And I know that I must have blown your text messaging away with all of the and I'm very, very logical. So as an architect, I don't know. I try to always have the explanation for things, but in certain things you can't explain really. You have to feel into it, and there's no explanation, no words. That's it.
Yes. So just to let everyone know, if they hear that grumbling noise, it is that we
It's
both are
thunder.
experiencing some major thunderstorms in the area. It's the thunderstorms and not my
Excellent.
voice.
I like that.
Yeah, and
I always think when it thunders, it's God highlighting me, and
there
saying,
you go.
"Good
Pay
for
attention.
you,
Boom, boom, boom.
showers, and let's happy joys of happy smiles," right?
Yeah, so normally I don't have my puppy next to me, but he's a little bit nervous. So there could be a good chance that he'll get up and bark. But right now he's really calm and cool. So I just wanted to let them know that that grumbling up there is just the thunderstorm. And yeah, so that's kind of been going off time to time. But I have to say this as an architect, even though architecture is a lot with numbers and geometry and really being precise in your measurements and so forth, there has to be a huge level of creativity and intuitiveness underneath of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
So,
Because for me, I didn't want to just haphazardly come up with a scheme for my clients and then say, oh, I just felt like it, or I just, it had to be more. Like there's the design part of it, the knowledge part of it, and then there's also some other level which I can't yet define, but it is going beyond what we understand architecture is. It's like when you walk into a landmark space, right, or architecture, and you get chills and you feel it, like you're so connected, and nobody can put words on that. It's actually when you combine beauty and I think all the laws of the universe together that is created.
yes, absolutely.
That's magical.
Yeah.
That's so magical.
Yeah. And it's not about the extra working hard and working, because you can work 8, 10, 12, 15 hours a day in and day out, week after week, and get no results.
Right.
It's really about going into the energy first, tapping into the whole of who you are and showing up authentically. And that's very, very powerful. And I've seen that explode within you. Of where we started in January and where you are now, and it's just been such a joy. Like this is the on my end. Yes, we get to do this, and this is what I get to do for a living. Like how awesome is that? And then to learn the magic that you do and be part of that and see you progress in your journey, it's like a double win-win situation for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with this, how would you say from January when we started the program until the middle of July when that ended, how do you feel? Like what were your aha moments? What was the growth that you had during that time?
So I realized that maybe it's because of all the training I've had and all the education. I was always feeling like people needed those certifications. People needed to use it. Meanwhile, all these certifications don't mean anything if you don't have great ideas and you don't have, a brilliant mind behind them.
Right.
So I didn't want to follow protocols, right, for architecture. I didn't want to say this is being done now, so I'm doing it too. But no, I always knew even back then that sustainability was important. But when I connected it now, was like I connected to a higher level of myself. And I realized when I let go of all the action, I just, I don't have to make 10 calls today, or I don't have to go and write, a post or something, because it felt pulled. Like it felt like only if I was inspired do I really feel like doing it. And that's when I let go of all the things that I thought as a business owner you're supposed to do, right? So all the marketing and all the, and I just centered myself and just, I guess because of COVID too, there's this craziness going on. People are a lot more open and willing to speak to people who are open-minded and have better ideas and have a better way of working.
Yes.
From January to now, I've actually restructured my business where I'm not doing business the same.
Good for you.
And that is actually very freeing, because I know that if you keep doing the same things the way you've been doing them, you're always going to get the same thing. But my process, the way I'm approaching it, is so exciting. It's like I literally can't wait to start design projects with people who are like, wow, I connect with you. I understand what you're talking about. Because if you don't connect with a client, the project is going to be just pushed apart or whatever. It's just going to be more difficult. But when you connect to a client on a physical level, spiritual level, all that idea creation, and you're in sync, that's when you can create anything. I mean, literally anything.
Yes.
So my whole process changed. I stopped doing the I need to do this. No, it's if I got an impulse, I did it. If I woke up with a thought, I did it. If I wanted to draw art just for the sake of it, I did it. And so I learned that it was okay to be free flowing, and that's like super freeing, I guess, aspect of running a business. And then, of course, seeing my physical environment around me change with people who used to be difficult, who actually are now not bothering me. And I actually get so much fun out of seeing even my immediate family and my kids and my husband partake. And then I'm like laughing. I'm like, that's great. They don't understand it, but I'm like, that's great.
You mentioned, that you wanted to connect with a higher level of yourself. And that is something that's been repeated over and over during the course of the interviews today, the leveling up, the knowing that there was more than, waking up and just working all day, then going to bed to wake up to work all day tomorrow, right? And so what would you say is a couple things that makes the Invincible CEO program, elite program, different than other programs that are out there?
So I think that in general, the programs that I've been accustomed to, they have a little sort of palette, right, of signature things they have to do, right? But with yours, I felt like you listened to the group and you sort of understood where everybody was at. We may have been all at different levels, but you sort of honed it into a lesson that actually helped all of us. And during the lesson, because you heard other people, say things, I always felt like that I needed to hear that too. And it was amazing to overlap.
Yes.
But the way I think that it impacts searching for your higher being, so to speak, is the connection. I think that we were, taught from very early age to just go and do and, do as you've been doing, and sort of it's reverse psychology when you actually say, well, I know this doesn't feel good, but I know I have to do it.
Right.
And then you go and do it and it doesn't work out or something else falters. So you knew that you had an instinct, right?
Yes.
And trusting that instinct is, I think, very difficult to do in the beginning when you don't know yet what you are connected to. So the minute you connect to that, that's when the trust comes. That's when the letting go happens. And that was, I think I let go after the third month.
Yeah.
I think when I was into it the first 3 months, I was like, oh, these are exercises I don't understand. I can't connect. I don't really feel. All these things are happening around me. I can't understand. And then I realized, okay, it was because I actually didn't connect. And then once I did, everything went smoothly. Everything was light, and I felt like I was living on purpose, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
A lot easier.
Yeah. And that's, I see that very often, especially in a longer program, like a 6-month program, where, and if you are more geared to be in the logical mind for whatever reason, the logical mind makes you think that you connect, but you're still thinking, so it's really in that surrender.
Yeah.
And you did
that's one big distinction I think I had to make, was when I distinguished between a thought and the feel, and to understand that the feel actually doesn't need words.
Yeah, exactly.
The less words, the better.
Yeah. And the fact that the more powerful the feel, the more there isn't words that adequately describe what it is that you're feeling. So, and I think for my more logical friends coming in, it's always a huge joy because that is a huge moment when you realize that the energy comes first, and the energy actually creates the thought. The thought doesn't create the energy, because the thought couldn't exist without the energy underneath it. So yeah, that was very powerful.
Yeah. And I literally remember the day that it happened.
Yeah, it's an important day. One of those like life-changing moments when that really does happen, and you have access to it the whole time.
Yeah.
So how did you like the setup of that? There weren't pre-recorded videos. It was 3 times a week coming in that small closed
I loved it. I think I loved it because I like the Monday, Wednesday, Friday because I was with you the whole week.
Yeah.
So even though there was not a lot of homework per se, like you didn't have to, but the minute that you had the lesson, you couldn't forget it because the minute you remember to drink water, who'd you think of? Denise.
Exactly, right. And take that deep breath.
You think of Denise. So it was like just drilling that in was amazing because I don't think I can ever go a day without drinking. When I do, I really feel guilty about it. And just the water is very important because our bodies are very, I think, in our bodies. I don't, and people know this, but maybe they do from your talking about the Moto crystals and everything. And so when I see that crystal, I'm like, can you imagine what you can do if you just did that in another level, in another architecture, in a space, and all this creativity?
Yeah. And it's funny because as a personal trainer and nutritionist, I expect to have to tell people to drink your water and do your deep breathing and don't hold your breath and so forth. But what was mind-blowing for me as I started to transition more into the personal energy work, the Reiki, and then the personal energy work or the business with business and CEOs, it really, there is no taking you out of the equation, but it's just as important, even if you never pick up a weight or run a mile or ride a bike or swim or kayak or any of that. It's just as important to get that oxygenation water in. So I never thought I'd be constantly in a business where I'm going, drink your water, do your deep breathing, drink your water, do your deep breathing. And just to see your faces as things light up and the light bulbs go off and the clicking is happening. So I wanted to kind of jump over to, we just did a 2-day event on the 10th and 11th in Zoom, a personal CEO energy event that you took part of. And how was that experience for you?
Well, to me, it was a good review because I realized that what I learned was already ingrained. And when I went through the 2-day, I literally, I just couldn't help but feel appreciative for having met you. Honestly, I just feel, I don't know, I don't think I would even be thinking at this level to even think that I can attract the people and the clients that I never before would have thought of going after.
Yeah.
And so the 2-day course was actually a nice thing to see because I saw other people who were at the same level when I first started out and how they were responding. But I also saw a lot of people who were already aware and a little higher than normal.
Yeah.
And there's a different feel altogether of the group once you are like a little bit higher than you're not teaching basics, but then everybody gets it and then it goes even higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I felt like we just went from this to like this, and I don't know how it happened. Just it's amazing.
And I have to say for myself that I took myself out of the model that was taught to me that said, if you want to do things online, you have to do it this way. And I geared it back towards my own authenticity of what I do in person. If I were to have you sitting in a room with me in a small group, and found a way to translate that the best that I could over a virtual type of meeting place. And I was thrilled. I was thrilled with what we were able to do in the constraints that we had of being in the virtual space. But yes, it was absolutely amazing. And
the other thing is, sharing with a group of people you never even met, I mean, you don't know how you let go. And I don't know whether it's just your way of pulling everybody together, but that was, I thought, very, very interesting because people were open. They were, and that's very, very raw.
Yeah, and I think because people are looking for authentic, safe spaces to expand and to connect with others that isn't just your typical thing online. And when you find it, whether it's a logical, conscious connection or that subconscious connection, you know to trust and you know to allow. And that was one of the things that I was interested in seeing, because I knew from my veterans that were coming back that, you know, you guys would kind of lead that. And the other people that were new in the group, they just followed along amazingly. And
we had to sort of keep our mouth shut because we didn't want to ruin it. Like, let them find out for themselves.
And it really was amazing. So it affirmed to me, you know, that there are ways that this can be done online, and that there's more and more to share. I mean, again, we did 8 sessions, and we did, you know, 6 months in the other program, but we've just tip of the iceberg of all the different energy experiences that, you know, the more that you're connecting to the energy and the breathing and the water, that it will be easier and easier to do. So we have this 8-week personal CEO event coming up at the end of August 24th. It starts. We're opening enrollment today until the 21st, I believe. And, you know, if someone's watching this video, your interview here, and they're sitting on the fence of whether they should join in and work with me, what would you say to them?
I don't think that they would regret it. That's first. I think that it could only improve them as a personal growth medium. And I think that they can use it for other things. You know, it's not just personal. Once you learn the personal, it has to all flow because the business follows.
Yeah.
And so how you do one thing is how you do the other. But I think that the one thing that I really, really was very, very keen about was that sometimes we don't understand what we're dealing with, you know. And then when things happen around us, you tend to put a label, you know, you tend to sort of give a meaning, but it's not that at all.
Yeah.
And once you understand how energy works and how you are actually a part of everything, and your environment reflects you, there's more personal accountability. So I think that is, I think, huge, because you'll never go back to talking to other people the way you talk to them, to even doing business the way you're doing them. I think and it's good. It's all good. You know, there's nothing wrong with self-development, but this is on a different level, right? It's not the typical self-development that we all, you know, read the books and you'll understand your psyche, or you'll understand. This is sort of like, you really gotta sort of feel into it, listen, and watch out. Like, watch out for all the signs. Like, just watch out around you. And that's something we're not trained to do. At least most people, I think, are not.
And it's really about going into an experience and realizing every moment right now is nothing's ever ordinary, nothing's ever boring. Everything is experience, it's energy. And, you know, when you understand that your higher self really wants you to succeed and loves you unconditionally, you know, when you realize you've just been existing and now it's time to live, right? So I got to ask you, because I've asked everyone else that's done the Invincible CEO Elite Program. So what were your thoughts, especially as a logical person, when we came to the unit that you had to create your toy box?
Oh, well, I know landlord is hiring.
It's all good.
The toy box actually brought me to my younger child self, right? Where I used to love to do certain things. And I realized, oh my gosh, I actually was acting and being a boss back when I was very young, you know, 5, 6, 7. I was playing with a red phone.
Yeah.
And so when you told us, okay, buy whatever you feel, I said, all right, that red phone I have to have, that's my red phone. And I connected to it in the sense of bringing back those memories. And going back to realizing that, wow, you know, there are certain things that are ingrained with us that we actually forget about. And then we realize, I'm doing that right now. Like, I'm picking up the phone, I'm calling, you know, clients, I'm talking. I am the boss, right? You realize it actually did come true. But that playful side is gone. And once I realized that, I was like, you know what? This isn't fun. This calling thing is not fun. So how do I make it fun?
Right.
How do I make it enjoyable in such a way that I'm actually loving to call people? And then it happened that once I started to think about the way I really wanted to do architecture and design, that's when the conversations changed, the way I was looking at everything. So the toy box was actually a good aha.
Yes.
I can say I don't play with my toys so many times as I should, but you know, I have them around. So even this tape measure, you know, it's like a tape measure, the human body. So I sort of keep it around just to even remember and get into that a little bit.
Yeah, because this is meant to be fun, and if you're not having fun, why are we here, right?
And also, what you love to do without any, you know, headaches, you're actually going to be a lot more successful. So.
Yeah. And that's the thing, when you choose a career or you choose a business to make your own, the desire would be to do something where you never work a day in your life, and a life that you don't need to have a vacation from. So that is really powerful, because I mean, this is what I get to do and I love it. I haven't been out of my basement in 3 days, but because, you know, this is part of it, but it's not every day. I'm not tied down here. If I want to go out later on and take a 2-hour walk, or take a 2-hour walk every day, or run, or, you know, go to the gym, I have created a life for myself that just is pure joy. And it's no fun if you're the only one living a life of pure joy and everybody else around you is cranky. So I want more people, as we said earlier in one of the interviews, to, you know, it's like back in the day when friends would knock on your door and say, can you come out and play today? This is for me, like my adult version of knock, knock, can you come out and play, have a play date with me, right? This is awesome. So I guess architecture, we can say it's like building blocks, right? Get your Legos out, get your building blocks, right? It's that reliving of that joyous time. Because
I also realized one more thing is that because I knew that architecture has a higher level to it, and it's connecting to nature even, and to the energy fields of the earth, I realized that in order for me to really create the magnificent architecture that I envisioned, I really had to work on myself, because I had to be that energetic being to understand it first within myself in order to do the architecture, in order to help other people connect with, you know, that energy of that beautiful space, or however it works out to be, you know, in architecture.
Yes. And you know, I am so thrilled that we found each other. However, the universe brought us together was wonderful. And the fact that, you know, there is a process that you go through to make sure that this is a good fit for you. We don't just stick anyone into any program just to fill programs. I'm very peculiar and particular to make sure that you really are ready before you go to that next level, because I know that there's a real person on the other side of the screen with family, and every penny counts. So I want to make sure that you're going to be able to get out of what it is that I wanted to guide you to, and that you're ready for that. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Taking time out of your busy schedule to share your experience. And any last words that you want to say?
Yeah, if you're thinking about signing up and you feel you're not ready, trust me, if this is showing up in your life, then you're ready.
Yeah. And we'll have that conversation. Awesome. Thank you so much, Irena. I really, really appreciate you and all that you do and what you brought to the program. Thank you so much. All right, guys, we'll be back here at 4 p.m. today with my partner in crime, Kervin Desmoulin. He was also part of the January pod. We're going to hear what he has to say about, you know, being in this partnership and then being in the program on top of it. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Irena.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.